Hello guys, this is Gopi back with another video in the design pattern series. In this video we are going to discuss about solid principles, single responsibility principles. Okay, so as we all know that single responsibility principles actually comes under solid. Okay, so now we are going to practically see how we can implement a single responsibility principle and how it actually works in the real world. First of all, let's try to understand what is single responsibility principle. Single responsibility principle makes sure that a class have only one responsibility. That is nothing but single responsibility principle. That's all. Nothing else, just single responsibility to the class. That's all about the single responsibility principle as name implies. So here you can see I do have one simple region that I created for demonstrating the solid principles. Now I'm going to create one more class which call it as single responsibility principle. In my case, I'm going to name the class as single responsibility principle.cs. Let me clean it up. Now this single responsibility principle is the name of the class, and within this, right, I'm going to create one more class called student. Okay, let's say example you are working for a student based application or banking based application or something related to that. You can imagine whatever that application that you are working with. So I am taking the simplest form of example, which is nothing but student. Let's say example I'm working for a college, so where I'm developing an application. That application lets student admissions into the application through the form. So here in this student class, I'm going to create a method that doesn't going to return anything. The method name called student. So what this student actually going to accept is, this student going to accept student name and then student department. Based on this detail, I will be inserting a record into the database. Once that detail is inserted, I'll be sending one notification email or confirmation email to the student's email ID. So that is what the functionality that I'm implementing. So what you can do is, for sake of example, I'm just printing console.writeLine of student name has been successfully added to the database. And once this operation is completed successfully, I'll be sending one email sent to the I just call it as confirmation email sent to the student name. Okay, student this name admitted under the department DEPT has been successfully added to the database. Now if you look at this simple example, right, you can understand that I'm having only two different write line, but in the real world scenario you can think that this is where you are going to have some kind of a student data validation and then adding that student data to the database. So that is fine because the function name is add student, so I supposed to do that. But when it comes to confirmation email, right, it is not a good practice to write all the email related functionality within this add student, because this is the student class which needs to take care of student related functionality. This is the add student method which has the business logic of adding student. It should not have anything apart from that. This implementation of the student class violates the rule of single responsibility principle. So what I could do, I can create one more class called email or else email service or something related to that. Within this, I'll be having a void method send email this send email method accept a parameter. In my case, I am just having a name which supposed to be an email address, and then I'll be just printing console dot write line of the same message. Whatever the message that I have here, I just printed. In this place, right, instead of doing any email related functionality, I will be just invoking new email dot send email of whatever the student name. So here what we have done is we have separated the email functionality from the student class and created the new class. Now whoever wanted to send email, they can use this email class to send the functionality. If you look at the student, I'll be having only student related functionality. When you look at the add student method, you will be having only the add student to the database logic alone. So this way we have maintained the single responsibility principle. So this is one of the very basic and beginning software development principle. So always keep that in mind. A class must have a single responsibility. Whatever the additional responsibility that comes into the class, that needs to be separated and written as a separate class. Wherever required, you can invoke that class. The best way to implement this kind of functionality is by implementing the dependency injection. We will be meeting in the next video where we are going to discuss about open and close principle. Till then, bye. Take care.